And you would have this feeling of disappointment, like, oh man, I wanted to get in, but I couldn't. If you're looking to run ads profitably and you want to be able to scale, but you're facing a lot of different problems, things like ad fatigue, things like it's profitable at $100 a day, but when I try to scale to $1,000 a day, everything is really messed up. Then today in this video, I want to be taking you behind the scenes to a recent coaching call that I did to walk you through different factors, insights, and strategies that you want to be taking into account if you want to be able to turn a losing campaign into a winning one. Let's begin. So, Stella, do you have a rough idea to what was your cost per registration for your event?
My cost per registration was $1.
100?
1.04.
That's not possible. So, Stella, I am gonna unmute you first. Just share with us your first direct experience. How was it like? Was it frightening? Was it not as scary as it was? So what happened?
It wasn't scary at all. One, because I think I mentally prepared myself by setting the timeline first. In fact, I pushed back because of preparing at the back end, the kinetics component. There was a slight glitch. Normal technical stuff, we just delay by 2 weeks. I figured I'm not going to kill myself. I just delay by 2 weeks. That was the first decision I made. So a couple of days before, I was still doing a lot of the back end stuff. I didn't prepare my slides. And I also know that my personality, I don't like to use slides. I just get very restricted. I don't flow. So I decided I'll just make sure I just do whatever's necessary, go for the event. And 2 days before, I just prepare 60 slides, out of which the 60 slides, one pre-frame, the sizzle, model yours. And two, I use testimonials as case studies. I remember you said case studies. So instead of playing the testimonials that I used to do, I use it as case studies. That was the main thing about the presentation slides that I work on. I just decided just put 3 slides down, pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3, which is day 1, day 2, day 3. Forget about the content, put it aside. Figure out the broad framework of day 1 because I didn't manage to bring people to my so-called my mentoring program. We did a few sales. We sold the VIP links and the downsell. In fact, even the last day they were still buying the VIP links. So, however, I wasn't able to bring them to the so-called the mentoring part, which that is the main question I want to come in for.
Okay, let's work on that. So I hear 2 questions in here. Number one is, you say this is the first time I'm running ads. Can I take a look at the ads? I am looking at your submission right now and I saw 2 ad links, but they are both not working. Is there anywhere else I could take a look at the ads that you submitted? So, okay, one of the things that you might have heard me say in the previous coaching calls is you are targeting different countries of different tiers. Inside your Facebook ad campaign, it is crucial that you set it up on a different campaign. Okay, so I will open up my ads manager and show you guys how is it that I do. Some of you, I'm pretty sure you would have seen it in the past, in the previous coaching call. But one of the things that I mentioned is when it comes to knowing your numbers, but when it comes to filling up events, when it comes to your ads manager, what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to separate based on country. Now, when I separate based on country, I may not necessarily have a different campaign for a different country, but I'll always have it so that if it's the same tier, it will be in the same campaign. So US typically will be one campaign. If it's Singapore, I will separate Singapore from the US. Australia typically will have its own campaign. Malaysia would have its own campaign. Philippines would have its own campaign. And then for me, if it's UK will be one of or campaign on its own, and then like worldwide. The reasoning behind it is because when you clump countries together in the same campaign, here's what happens. Let's say the objective you set is based on conversions, which is in this case here, registrants for this event. So let's say you put in a budget of, let's say $1,000. Now, essentially what you're telling Facebook is, hey, help me find the people that is most likely to convert for this offer, which is this event that I'm doing. Here's my budget is $1,000 for this campaign. Now imagine this campaign, you've got people from the US and you have people from, say, Philippines. Now, obviously, Philippines, is going to be significantly cheaper than the US. And in some cases, maybe 10 times cheaper. But in Facebook's mind is, I want to be able to give you what it is that you want. And you told me that you want the objective to be the most likely people that will convert for this free event. Therefore, in Facebook mind would be, okay, so let me allocate the lion's share of the budget to the people in Philippines, because I'm giving to Facebook eyes is I'm giving you what it is that you tell me that you want. And therefore, you will notice that a huge budget is being allocated to the country that's most likely to convert, which in this case here isn't a sale, but a registration for the event. So because of that, you can't really tell how much it is costing you for that specific place or country. So let me show you guys a few different case studies and how we set this up so that you guys will be able to do something similar. Okay, so I'm going to go into my ad account right now, and some of you will probably know, just like what, four days ago, we just ended an event called the Virtual Event Codex, and we ran it from this account. So basically, this account over here, you will see that we've got worldwide, we've got Australia, we've got Canada, we've got the US. And what we want to be able to test, you'll notice that our cost per registration can fluctuate from like what, $3 over here. As you can see, this is like worldwide, Asia, broad, right? The US could be $30, right? Australia, 60, right? For this specific campaign. So what this tells me is I can see, oh, okay, so for this specific worldwide audience, it's $13. For this specific audience in Asia, it's $3.50. For this specific audience in the US, it's $30. And that way, I can have and allocate a very, very good mix for my audience. And literally what I'm doing is I'm forcing Facebook to spend on an audience type that I want to test out on. What I would do is I would make sure that you have more creatives. These 2 image ads are definitely not enough, because it's as you want to be able to scale more, you never really know which ad will convert best for you. Okay, which angle? The angle that we utilized, just a quick feedback on this. Okay, so based on this over here, Luna and the crypto market has crashed. Nothing will change until I change. Now, the thing about this ad is, while this is a good timely hook, there could be audiences that has no idea what Luna is. So to them, you might have lost them on the first sentence just because they aren't, product aware or aware with what's happening in the crypto market. So it's very often that we assume how our audience think based on how we think. So we want to be able to utilize more hooks and angles so that Facebook can also have the flexibility to play around with it. Okay, so that's with regards to ads. Does that make sense, Stella?
Yes, makes sense. Can I ask a question first?
Yeah, go ahead, Stella.
Before we close that component. So for ads, right, because I use mainly, I would say picture ads, rather creative. So would you recommend video ads or design creative based on your experience right now? So
when my team asked me, Peng Joon, should we be, how many video ads, image ads, should we be creating this week? My answer is always yes. Okay, that's my answer. Okay, the right answer is there's really no limit to the amount you should be doing. Why? Because Facebook is able to help you do the heavy lifting with dynamic creatives. So it really doesn't hurt having more angles, more hooks. And in most cases right now, we are seeing that video ads usually, in most cases, outperform image ads for a variety of reasons. Number one, if your video ad is good, typically a video ad and image ad that says the same exact thing will have a lower cost per conversion. And the reason for that is because when you take into account the whole life cycle of the ad, where a video ad, you can retarget based on watched, right? You can't do that with images. And therefore you can filter custom audience that's even more serious, because you can create a whole custom audience of everybody that's ever watched 50% of your videos. And for that reason, this is where there's a lot of options that comes to video ads. And also people are a lot more engaged. They're more likely to comment. And when they comment, you can retarget them again. So therefore, videos are superior also because they are less likely to fatigue out than an image ad.
What I wanted to prick your brain on your strategy is, when do we actually offer? First day, second day, or third day? Which part of the segment that we sort of know that this is time that we can potentially build it into the day? So this is like something I want to understand.
Okay, so I think this is a great question. I don't think this is one of the very, very rare times, somebody asked me a question like this. And to answer that question, I'll tell you how I discovered this, okay? So over a decade ago, this is like storytelling time. Over a decade ago, the first time that I ever saw somebody sell really, really well was T. Harv Eker. He's like the OGs of selling from stages. And the first time I saw him do it was in 2007. Yeah, when I was like just starting, that's right, Millionaire Mind Intensive. And when he was doing this Millionaire Mind Intensive, looking back, like the whole event, it's like a mega pitch fest. But back then, this thing was still very novel, it's very new. And what I didn't realize is one of the things that he would do on day one is he would make this incredible over-the-top offer at the end of every segment. Okay, so maybe after every 3-4 hours or so, he would make an offer. And Millionaire Mind Intensive was I think it was a 4-day event. Back then it was either a 3 or 4-day event. And one of the things that he would do so well is he would have this crazy offer. Everybody will be running to the tables and guaranteed it would sell out. And you would have this feeling of disappointment, like, oh man, I wanted to get in, but I couldn't. And let me tell you how insane, I remember what the offer was, that I felt disappointed I couldn't get it. So if you've ever been to a TR record event, right, Harv is like retired today. I mean, today he doesn't, do any of this, but like that, right? He would talk about like investing in different jars, call it. Right now, when he taught like the jar method and how you should, allocate your money in like 9 different jars, I remember he sold the jars, which is literally just plastic containers. I'm not kidding. It's literally plastic containers, but you felt like this is amazing. I need to have these jars, which is, looking back in retrospect, probably quality that's worse than Tupperware, right? It's just literally 9 plastic containers. But these 9 plastic containers was like whatever, like $100 or something. But for some reason, you would feel that this is such an amazing offer. I need to have this jar method. And what's gonna happen is you would try to run to the tables, and a lot of people run to the table. And when you go there, you only have a few, and it would sell out. And one of the things they will always do, okay, is they'll put the flip chart up on top that says whatever, right, the jar method system, and it will put a huge X over it that would say sold out. What is that? That's conditioning. Conditioning people that if you want to get in on this amazing offer, you need to act fast, right? What did I do? I took out an entire to-do list, right? When it comes to running events. And what did I say? I said, if you want to be able to run events well, you got to be able and scale it. You got to be able to have systems, checklists, and processes. So in my hand over here are all of the steps and the checklist that my team goes through every single time before we do an event. In terms of the funnel setup, in terms of the tech, in terms of the integration, right? So now they can actually see in their hands, now or in front of them, there's all these things that my team would do before running an event. Now, what is that? Tell them in their mind, it'll be, man, that makes so much sense. I need to have systems and processes. But what's the next question that comes to mind will be like, oh man, but that's so much work. It makes a lot of sense to be able to create system processes, but that sounds like there's a lot of work and it's going to take me a while before I create them. And that is why when I come to my offer, that's what I mean. When I come to my offer, one of the components, what do I say? I say, so remember this entire to-do checklist that's in my hand right now? For those of you that make that investment here this weekend, I'm going to include the checklists as part of this investment, right? So that's what I mean as one of the difference between a world-class closer and an average one. An average closer marketer will only try to build up the value of the offer when they're making the offer. Stella, I think here's what I would like to see before our next hot seat. Preferably, I would have loved to do this hot seat before this event started, right? So then we could have worked on a few of these things first. But nevertheless, this was a great attempt. So for this specific segment, here's what I would like to see in your next hot seat submission. I would like to be able to see how the call to action and the offer and a compelling reason to why a person should apply, right? What are they going to get? How do you frame it in a way so that when a person wants to work with you, they are able to, in fact, you know what? Let me just mention one more thing that I think is absolutely crucial for each and every one of you. Your audience, when it comes to making an offer, you got to think about what is your primary promise that one thing that you are trying to get your audience to see or believe in based on that training. So let me give you an example. The event that just happened last week, what's the primary thing I was trying to get my audience to see when I did event codex, the virtual event codex? The primary thing that I was trying to get my audience to see is if you could just pull off and execute one event well, that one event will change your life. Just one event. That one event in that one weekend will generate more impact and more income than what many would in a year if you only knew how to execute it well. And if I can get my audience to see that vehicle and believe in it, not just believe in it, but believe that they can do it as well, that's when the sale is a no-brainer. That's when they're going to see, oh, you know what? I can see why doing this training pays for itself many times over, because all that's required is for me to just do one event where it doesn't even need to be perfect and we're making a ton of mistakes, and that alone will cover that investment many times over. Well, I hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes to this coaching call. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below what your biggest takeaway is, and as always, be sure to smash the like button. It does help the channel out a little bit, and to subscribe to this channel if you want to be notified of future videos just like this one. Now, some of you asking me, how can I be part of this process? How can I ask you questions? How can I have you coach me or mentor me? We want to make sure that we are working with the people that's the right fit. You'll need to fill up a form. There's a link right below this video. Somebody on my team might give you a call to interview you to see if they're right fit for each other. And if you want to apply and see if you're a good fit, then all you need to do is click on this link in the description box below, and my team will be in touch with you.